making my mouth water. Isn't that awesome? I love it. Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. How many of you remember going on vacation up through the Carolinas and seeing all the signs on the road for south of the border? Well, that used to drive me crazy when I was a child. I would say, are we almost there? Are we almost there? And that's kind of how I felt this week getting ready for our south of the border episode this week on the show. So we've got 3 really great recipes today and we're going to put a southern twist on them. We're going to start with a Mexican corn salad, very much like that southern Dixie caviar that we all do that has the black-eyed peas and all the really great southern ingredients in it. Then we're going to move into a fried chicken taco. We're going to take the traditional taco, put southern fried chicken with it, and I'm going to show you an easy way to fry that chicken. And then finally, there is a cookie that we all love that's a wedding cookie. But this one is a Mexican wedding cookie, has a lot of cinnamon, and it literally melts in your mouth. So we've got a lot to do, so let's get started with that Mexican corn salad. All right, I'm ready to do fusion foods. We're going to meet Southern and Latin together and fuse them up, and this is going to be such a delicious go-to salad for you, especially this time of year when corn is in season. So let's get started with the dressing that goes with this. It's very simple, but it's really delicious. I've got just a little bit of mayonnaise in the bowl. I'm going to add to that some chipotle powder, some garlic powder, and a tablespoon of lime juice. And I'm just going to mix that together. And this is just enough. This is about enough salad for probably 8 to 10 people. And it lasts really well in the refrigerator too. It's almost one of those things that the longer it sits, the better it gets. So that dressing is going to be ready to go on the salad in just a minute. Okay, in Vera's Corner not too long ago, I showed you how to get corn off the cob very easily and not make a gigantic mess in your kitchen. But today what I've done is I went ahead and grilled. I put my Emerald grill on top of my cooktop and got it good and hot, sprayed it with a little pan spray, and roasted the corn for just a few minutes, just because I love to get some variety in the way that it looks in the bowl. And then I inverted a regular size bowl inside of this and put the corn with the biggest side down, and then just took my knife and cut it off. And when you do that, you're raising that corn up a little higher than the bowl so the corn doesn't go flying all over the kitchen when you're working with it. So we've got that ready, and you just want to take your hands and kind of separate some of those kernels over it. So now we're ready for all of the delicious ingredients that go inside, and this is what makes it the southern part kind of meet the Mexican part, is because there's another recipe that I make quite a bit that uses black-eyed peas and Vidalia onions and all the southern ingredients. So we're pulling in some of those Mexican ingredients to this to make it just right. All right, so I've got some jalapeno pepper. I've got some fresh cilantro. You know, now my husband is not a big Mexican eater, so I would probably not put quite that much of that ingredient in there. All right, we've got some red onion, and then Fresh Market's brand of black beans are just tremendous. Love them. Just the right size. They're not too big, and I drained all the juice off of that before I put it in. Now this is queso fresco cheese, and if you're wondering what in the world that is, it looks like feta and it actually tastes like feta, but what makes everybody love it so much is it's salty. So it's got a really great vibrant taste. And then now I've got some fresh avocado, and of course that's going to be one of the ingredients that you cut up last. And a really simple way to do this is to cut your avocado in half and get the seed out, and then take the back side of a fork and score it. And while it's at room temperature, you can just move the skin around, and those little pieces will just pop right out with the spoon, and you don't have to worry about cutting yourself when you're doing it. So I've got just some really good pieces of avocado in there. All right, now I'm going to put that dressing on. I love the way this smells, and I love the color of it too. And like I said, the longer this sits, the better it gets. We're going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper to that. And just start mixing that together. And we're going to have some really fun things coming up in the next segment. I'm going to get started on the fried chicken tacos. So, oh, just look how colorful that is. So come back and join me while this marinates and gets just right. Welcome back, everybody, and we're having quite a lot of fun today with all this Mexican meeting the South, so it's been quite a lot of fun. And we've got the Mexican corn salad in the refrigerator. It's going to marinate. Like I said, it's going to get better as the days go by. And then, you know, if you've got some leftover ingredients, like I had a half of an avocado left, you know, just put that in there. There's really a lot of different things that you could add to that salad, so just kind of make it your own recipe. All right, so let's get started on the fried chicken tacos. And whenever you're using fresh chicken breast, I always recommend that you salt it, no matter what the recipe calls for, just because it's really a little bit on the bland side if you don't put a little bit of salt and pepper on the chicken before you actually start the recipe. All right, so, you know, the Fresh Market always has those chicken breasts on sale for $2.99 a pound on Tuesday. So go ahead and load up so you can make this recipe. All right, the fried chicken aspect part of this, you know, when we do Southern fried chicken, it's just loaded with crispy flavor. But when you put it in a taco, it's going to kind of lose some of that anyway. So this is a recipe that has all the flavor, but you're going to not have the crispiness that you do when you fry the chicken. So one of the things I love about this the most is it uses one dish. So I have a 9x13 Pyrex pan, put a half a stick of butter in it, put it in my oven to melt. So here again, you're using one dish. You don't even have to use the microwave to melt the butter. And then the butter is going to make the chicken get good and brown when it's baking. And some of the seasonings that I'm using today also give it that golden look. So that's one of the reasons why you do the butter in the pan instead of spraying the pan. All right, so I've got salt and pepper here. I'm going to flip these over. And then the seasonings that are going in this flour, you're going to think, wow, that is a lot of seasoning. But part of it is that it really needs to coat that chicken really well. So I've got paprika and Lowry's seasoned salt. And I'm just going to pour that into and use a freezer bag instead of just a regular bag, because you've got a little bit more depth to it to do that. All right, a little bit more salt and pepper on this chicken. And I've cut the strips in about 1 inch so that when we get ready to put them in the taco, they are going to be cut on the bias. All right, so let's shake this up a little bit. And you know, here again, you could use a pie pan if you'd rather, but we're not washing dishes this time. We're going to make it easy on ourselves. All right, so let's put all the chicken in. And I might want to do half of this and then start again. Now this is one of those recipes that you can have done in advance. You know, I know everybody, a lot of people do Tuesday night taco night, so I hope you'll try this. And as always, our recipes are available on our website at VeryVera.com. And just kind of shake some of that excess flour off. And all those good seasonings are all in that flour. And you don't want the chicken breast to touch, so make sure you've got plenty of room in between. Now I've got my oven on 350, and depending on how big you want these strips to be, it's going to be 10 to 12 minutes on each side to do it. But I've cut these a little bit on the thinner side, so I'm going to do 8 minutes a side on these. And you'll have enough butter when you flip these that you won't have to add any more. The butter, as I said, adds that little bit of goldenness to it when it's cooking. All right. This is just about ready to go in. Now don't forget that when you took this out of the oven, it was hot. So that means it's probably still hot. So let's use those mitts again. Get those in the oven for about 8 minutes. And when we come back, you're gonna get to watch in Vera's Corner how to make garlic paste, because that's a really great Mexican recipe. And then we're gonna go into the cookie recipe. So come back with me in just a few minutes. A lot of Mexican recipes use quite a bit of garlic for seasoning. So today I'm going to show you a mess-free way to make your own garlic paste. Place 10 to 15 peeled garlic cloves into a resealable plastic bag. Add a generous pinch of kosher salt to the bag. Seal the bag and gather the garlic cloves at the bottom. Gently pound the cloves until thoroughly crushed. Now do this gently or you'll break the bag. Use a rolling pin to further break down the garlic cloves. And again, use gentle pressure to keep the bag from breaking. From time to time, stop and gather the garlic back to the bottom of the bag. Continue rolling until you have a fine paste. Garlic paste is great to have on hand for sautéing or for use in marinades and sauces. You can also spread garlic paste directly onto buttered bread for instant garlic bread. Enjoy! Welcome back, everybody, and we have flipped that chicken halfway through, about 8 minutes. And you can see it has a really nice color, and that butter's just popping and just going crazy in that pan. So I flipped it over, took my tongs and really kind of got it soaked up with a little bit more butter. And it's back in the oven for another 8 minutes. We're going to cut it on the bias for the tacos. But now the most fun part is the cinnamon cookies that we're going to make, the Mexican cinnamon cookies. So I've got my butter creaming, and unlike a pound cake or some of the other things that I do baking, this is just real quick. You're going to just get that just where it's nice and soft. And now I'm going to add in my confectioner's sugar. So this is part of the difference in this recipe and the Southern style, is that you would be using regular granulated sugar. So this is one of the things that makes this recipe, these cookies, literally melt in your mouth. A little vanilla extract, and that's just gonna get mixed in together. Now I've got my plain flour. I'm gonna add cinnamon and salt. And I like to just use like 1/3 of a cup of a measuring cup when I start adding in my dry ingredients to that. But this is going to be a really soft dough. So I'm going to turn this down for just a minute. And I went ahead and made some because this dough is so soft that you have to chill it for at least an hour before you can roll with it. So while that's blended around, I've got some that I made ahead that you're just making balls about the size of a quarter. And you don't want them to be close together on the pan. So this is one of the recipes that I love to make with my 4-year-old granddaughter, Lucy. I can make the balls. Then she comes behind me and she picks up the ball and then she rolls it in the confectioner's sugar and cinnamon, and she puts it back on the pan. Now, granted, they might not be in the beautiful order that they are right now, but I would not take anything for that opportunity with her. So again, just making the balls, rolling them in the sugar. So I'm always love to give you tips on things that you can do with your young person in the kitchen. All right, let's add in a little bit more of that. And this really, if the grandchild is a little bit older, a lot of what I'm doing right now, they can help you mix these ingredients together. They can add the flour, One of the things I love the most about my mixer is these big, high bowls. Really keeps that flour from going all over the kitchen when you're doing this. As always, our recipes are available at VeryVera.com. And this one, you probably have every one of these ingredients already in your pantry and in your refrigerator. So that's a really good one to use right away. All right, so I'm going to keep rolling these in. And then I also want to point out that I love to, for a different treatment with these sometimes, I love to dip them in chocolate halfway when they come out of the oven. So my Wolf oven has a simmer feature that I can put my Hershey's chocolate directly in the pan and put it on simmer, and it can sit there all day long, and it doesn't get hard or tough. It stays velvety smooth. So come back with us in just a few minutes, and we're going to set this Mexican Fiesta right up. So come join us. I'm ready for a siesta, but it's time for a fiesta, and I've had the best time today merging South and Mexican together. So we have had the best time, and you guys are going to want to try these recipes because they're easy. There's something different for the family because I know we all get in a rut, and they don't make a big mess, so you're not going to have a lot of dishes to clean up. So let's go back and talk about what we did today because we've really had a lot of fun. Okay, we started with the Mexican corn salad, and I showed you how to grill the corn on top of the stove with one of those Emerald cast iron grills, or you can go outside and do it on your regular grill. And then we talked about how to get the kernels off the cob, and this time of year, all the fresh ingredients that go into that. And honestly, you can make it the kitchen sink salad if you want to. Just all the fresh vegetables that you have can go into that. The longer it sits, the better it gets. So make it, use it as a dip, use it as a salsa, use it as a salad. Lots of different uses for that dish. And then we did the chicken tacos, and I absolutely love this. The flavor of these, you guys, you have got to try this recipe because the flavor is over the top. It doesn't get crisp, but by the time you put it in the taco, you're not going to know that anyway. You didn't make a big mess, and the kids are going to love it. Make some in advance, stick it in the freezer, and you're good to go. And then finally, those cookies, oh my goodness, melt in your mouth, something fun to do with your grandchildren. I had such a great time with Lucy making those this week, and they present really well. Today, we dipped them in chocolate, Hershey's chocolate on top of my Wolf cooktop, my induction cooktop on simmer. That chocolate will stay smooth and perfect the entire day. In fact, that was one of the things that sold me on that induction cooktop. So now let's look at the party. Wow, we have pulled together every imaginable thing. A piñata for the kids, fill it with candy, and you know, most neighborhoods have a Mexican grocery store, so you can pick up all of the different flavors of soda and do it really cool and have that become part of your buffet. And then the candy that can be sprinkled around. We've got streamers everywhere. Use paper bags for your extra chips. And then I went into Pier 1, and would you believe that these dishes are plastic? I mean, they look just like ceramic. They're easy, they're inexpensive, and they really pulled this whole buffet together today. So I've put the salad in the bowl, sprinkled some of the cheese that we used today, the queso fresco cheese on top, and it's so good. And then I've got that on the side with the blue chips. I decided to use the blue chips on the plate because then the salad would pop. I've cut the chicken on the bias and have got that laid out. Then now I'm going to add in some shredded lettuce, a little bit more cilantro, some tomatoes that are cubed up, and then let's sprinkle some of that salsa on top. And then that's just wrap and eat and go. And then these cookies, oh my goodness. just the smell of that cinnamon. The kitchen smelled fantastic when we were making these today. So put them in the refrigerator and let that chocolate get hard. So lots of fun. Go to our website for the recipes, VeryVera.com, and come back with me next week, because Just Like Mama Made It is the theme for my show next week. So remember, no matter what you do, do it in good taste, and come back and join me next week for another episode of the VeryVera Show.
To see what's cooking with the VeryVera Show, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.